your drawings. I'm looking now. Some of you have focused on the endoderm, the yellow, and I see somebody did a lot of blue, a lot of skin.
Yeah.
And I see the bones. They are beautiful. This pink paper that you found it makes for very nice art on your walls.
Din sama singa re dangi di thongo de lemba. Pe ning jum dosra ani di singa imbadi kyang ga ning jum shu chasas. Yes.
So I do apologize. We did this a bit backwards because today I am going to teach you about ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm, but you already this morning were drawing these drawings about it.
Adi di gelagi sigra ani gumju yama chugyo cha songswa. Ani daring ngonje labadi ani thanda korangi kanjongare thanda sabingi di jiwa. Tanda di che di ani ngajo parshun che ani nangshun che chishun se jure di kola dari honda angon sena dari lobsen de la bere ina yang keran sugi dida dewa yugi chego di shokpa che sares kensa ke damgu de khachiro echo chi de chime de okay sorry.
So I am hoping that you have some good journal entries as well about all that we spoke about yesterday.
아니 gelagi rewa yang karna gyu la na karan su khasing lomyen lobsen lobgyu de da rewa ne sindi yakbu de de yobege rewa chigi yeswa.
I know you had, I bet that drawing these drawings took most of the lab period, right? So not much time to write in your journals, but hopefully a few of you have something to share.
아니 지당 gelag이라 karan su gi dagje chi tuju diring la ya yaja 아니 dinzu chini tuju zoyores. Ina di poroliya tishik ane soso ki tuzukto ne chi nyunyush chi tube rewa yoswa ane danda namyu sinji chi ma to ne share chi wa hondi nangye yowesa. Oh yeah, we got one nun. Simba yowe. Oh yeah, I think we got anirara. Simba. Nidwa. So we got two of them for volunteer to share. Yes. So dang ko ba. Anla dumba. Oh yeah.
Beautiful. I can see the colors of your drawing.
Oh,
you have the embryo as it moves through the fallopian tube. Wonderful.
Ye remote dira ti ani khamar survey 7 digit lady dira ani khamar 7 digit dia ani shimba sangman lag medara
khala sa
dandara ani samseunira ani khamar ani loiden jebala tene ani danda khamar ji doyara khamar ani gonga dawlare gongdul lai ji doyara dene ani khamkar bo ji ani sule bala tene khamkar bo dang ani khamar ba ni khamkar dang khamar ni ani khamar dimbuk lai dila ani dujer jera dujer jebala tene ani shine ani karisalana thongmai subgyur lai dida ani bunai la do thongmai ani bunai nana do ne ani thongmai subgyur da ani sarbel jia go joyo resra didi ani danda dela ani di ani chikto ni shadi jambara ani pena khamar dela ani khamkar din jodi ani danda shersu gyunera ani chuleb gyore ani chulebadi ani khamkar la ani x dang y ani thabung re ani mangbaji yobe ani chuleb de changa kyamne le de nambaji deora ani di nangni ani khamar yamdu ani khamkar y lai di ani chi nangla zul sarbe jesu ani y na x na danda nya y lai deora ani y di nangla zul sane ani khamar gi ani khamkar shamba din zo yoya de la ani ko ani goda wo ka ni ani pha da da wo pha tinera ani goda wo ka de number shayera di jela ni di gawar la ani khamar dimbuk na la ni khamkar dang khamar ni ani karsa duijor jene di jesu shine ani sugyur gi number de la sugyur marda sugyur gi number de la ani shine sarbe ja go zo sa di danda chidang shesu jira ani nangba gi di da mita adhikari cherela na ani chidang ge kham kar dang khamar chik bo ani dujur jebala tenera ani ngazo ani karsa phungbo daw dang ani dum daw ani dubki marera dila kar ngebar dani namshe ji shugore namshe di yang karela ani thome mari ba wangi ngeba duji gi lesa ani dela tene ani ta tende la chungi ki da dirim daw ji dubiera dina ne thome mari ba wangi ngeba duji gi lesa tene sumba namshe di ani tende chubas sibai lela ani seleng ki soi tabala dini sumba namshe di ani rangi ledel ki phama sel rangi ledel ki phama dila dini ra songna ani shine ani namshe shu bala dini ani shine drum chaya gozo yoresra ani din jang ani rangi lui din jani da ani pena sajing ling dan chilo ki phungba dawdi ani kham karbo da ani kham marbo ni latene duba kheleng gyang ra ani suk jeduk laya de dang ani namshe yagloi laya dang ani ta khorang ani phama sangbo dila da le sangbo jila tene ani phama sangbo jirawa dang ani rang rang ki le dang thumba di rang rang ki phama de ra do yo tene khelen je gyores
kale da di nang chui thon she benra
da na
hoya so pari dia chik tingi ba hoya so she has drawn about the fertilization. The first picture or the first drawing, the lower drawing that she talked about, how the fertilization takes place after the meeting with the sperm after the ovulation from ovary, and then travels through the uterus and then get fertilized, and then the cleavage happens, and that's how the human baby development, the first stage of developmental stage takes place. And then she also, in the in the upper picture that you see, the pink color one, she mentioned about how egg stops other sperms once it is being, fertilized by one egg. And she said, in order to represent sperm, she has written Y. She has written Y as the symbol for sperm. And then you see so many sperms coming toward the egg. And then once the egg is being fertilized by one sperm, then she said there's blockage. There's a chemicals that happens to, that are released in order to form a kind of wall and then blocks the other sperm to enter into the same egg. And then from Buddhist perspective, she said, even though we believe or we kind of accept that our body, human body, is formed by the fertilization of eggs and sperms, there should be something called spirit or soul that needs to enter in order to form a life, and then the entering, I think there's a whole explanation about this whole circle called 12 branches of independence, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so 12 link of dependence, and then she also mentioned that, it is the result or the consequences of many lives that we accumulated in order to meet our parents. Because there are possibilities that our soul can enter into any body, but then because of the fact that there's your parents and your soul, that's something that is consequences of the deeds that we did in the past lives. And then in order to get a good parents, in the sense noble parents, to meet noble parents, you have to have accumulated a lot of noble acts, the life before you were born.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was very curious about Buddhist views about this. I'm really looking forward to these journal entries. Especially, I wonder, you had chosen the letter Y, maybe because you were thinking the sperm is like a masculine thing, and so it would have like the letter Y, like male. But remember, I want to remind you that half of the sperm carry an X, and half of the sperm carry a Y. So maybe change some of those sperm that you named Y, you had all of them were Y, change half of them to contain X. Because although they come from the male, half of them contain the X chromosome.
Gilagiro Watanda Tabar di Ganglia, and Nangchi Tony Tata Handeros Yeda Samegi, and a Shende Shujiesra, only any Kalon Labar to Yanta Cindy Shembat and the Tanda Cindy didn't Zopet, Kadu Toyalia, Shungam Guyus, can say. Didn't do any Diche, any Yamdu Tanda, unlike Nazogi. wadanda kam kaudi anlagi xx ngona yy tiyorwa di chega x chega y chigures kajinlana pala damne yongyo jora ta khanja pai damne yongai nanglo gi chubung gi chupcha yorwa chupcha di ani chega x re chega y res kenswe tane kana chikna y chubya di pu kala ta poshe che se ya di chunga gi chedu y t ingerete ina ya jaja gi chan pap songwa na chega x chega di y che yores kense kamka wi ya yong di gi chubung gi chupcha yes.
I am curious, what you have learned about male and female Buddhist views about when they enter and how they enter. This is something I believe you will study with tantric studies. But I'm curious what you could tell me about views on male and female entering the spirit entering.
다 단다 낭치기 토네로 바겔라 아니 가르신데 열라베나 낭베기 토네 시에비나 부당 보모 차당 지여로 왔다 강다 카이 체리 토네 시에바나 감카르마르기 당로리아 최봉기 줍자기 토네 데시 야당시도 딘데도 체리 고자 낭베기 토네 칸데도 시기 나스와 아니 남시 슈윈디 부기 남시 슈에서야 돼 야나니 보모기 남시 슈고르세야로 딘데 지겨라다 강다 디강리아 아니 데시 야디 갤라신데 슈유스 직친낭가기 당로 딘데 송유겨레스 You want them to explain now, or you want to think about now?
Yes, now would be fine. I know I learned one time from a journal entry, from a monk's journal entry, that he had, this is something you study when you go to tantric studies, I believe. But that the male spirit is attracted to the female, or the female spirit is attracted to the male. Can you help explain some of this to me?
아니 gelai ngoma lobji nang dirwa kushala jig sindine thong songswa ani kushala digi ani di samanga gi da ngrim gi ra di nang la ya thiyor la doswa ani khare la di phoyim ba na phogi namshi di ta mola chaya mala pheje amaro jig la chaya mero dele chaya jig da yang phomogi namshi di phala chaya gi ani dindigi deshe jig ani love songs 당보 아비다마 thank you 단다 디소 가서 부이나 남셰디 예라 차이레 라이 요라 차이레 마이 알레 알레 디데 차야드라 아니 차디 예라 찍다 요나 찍라임 봐 윤 오케이 Oh yeah. Navel ale. Okay. So she, one of the nuns explained a little bit about. She's not sure what is mentioned in the tantric text, but she said the Buddhist text Abhidharma. It is mentioned that, as you mentioned, a boy's souls get attached to mom, and then if you mom, and then a male's get attached to the male over here. I think it refers to dad here. And then she also said when the fertilization takes place, or when the soul enters into the in the I think the zygote, if I put in the scientific term, it enters through the left side, right? Left side of navel, and then the second one, the female enters from the right side of the navel. And then when during the development, it seems it was mentioned that if the sex of the baby is male, they will kind of like more rigorous movement with a more force movement, I think. That's what
If
is
it's
mentioned.
male,
Yeah.
if the spirit is male.
Yeah. There'll be stronger movement during the development.
Oh, the baby will move more.
Baby, yes, baby.
Oh, okay. So, but we were speaking before about the spirit itself entering through the navel. So something that does not have substance is entering. Is that what you mean?
Yes. Yeah.
So I guess I'm curious. I'm asking, how is that gender determined though? You know, like we have the chromosomes and the hormones. In the spirit, can the spirit become, the same spirit can come into a female body or a male body?
Tadi dirwa gelagi tiwaji instrwa gelagi konangi shendo chene kare yurla na seri thoni shewi na ane thanda phoda mosie di thanda chubungda andana shi ane menje thoni de shege shtwa namshe se delia phojigda mojig yorweswa ane namshe di phoyimba na yana mo ngole yure da de jig yorwes yomara namshe korana phomo yomara Ale namshi. Oh yeah. So it is being said that there isn't any like gender for the soul itself or the spirit itself, but out of like due to the fate or the karma, when they enter, it seems they do enter in those body.
But they could switch back and forth. It could enter one time in the female and then years later in the male and then years later in a female. Like each life, it could switch.
Okay, yeah, it happens.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Let me hear some more of your Buddhist reflections on what we spoke about on sex determination or on the female reproductive system that we talked about yesterday.
Takasing ngajegi pimegi tanda kibegi malada danashi ane pugudigi poi moi se jwa homo yewa je de ninjo ane nangbegi thone she chedang tadang deda dewa yujene ngaju sindi mangsta against ra. So you want to let the second speaker to speak or yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Yes, anika mainda.
지당 아예 르무야고 드세메라.
아니 차가디 생기 값이. 어야.
디 디다 가잖아 가사 디 체릭단 디 디골라. 디당 개와 낭바이 디가.
낭셔야. 아니.
아니 디 가잖아 걔나 당왕 먼저 가르쳐나 데 감저 니저 제외 냠저 제외 켜봐요 말에 대전 숨숨서
알레요.
당고들라 아니가 감 냠저 마 제외 거니
개별.
디니 버링세라 디니 저거 지워 켜베 토니 아니 개별 시기 개별의 시기 말에 디니 저거 지워 켜네
지기마 빼야죠.
지그래 숨사 어디제라 니바데 아니 가르쳐나 니가 지기래 라서 아니 니가 냠저 제와다 맞아 니 열라서
알레. 니가 냠도 셔베.
딜라 링이 열어.
어레라.
디키마데라. 아니 감간만 제니 아니 리규베자 시타 아니 마데 고네 지 열어 수저라. 아니 디달라 아니 감간만 시포 디고시 리규베 사레. 아따 니 가레 숨 쉰데 좀스마나 디라. 맞아 남바 상계배 디나라 가래나나 이게 가지고 개월린야 유변이야 배제라 공기에 되게 안에 주게 라이래 어디다 아트스 더도 라이
진짜 숨 가르베 Ale sumga do dulere.
가르제나 로가 라인라
야.
디나나타 주제 와요 말에
어.
칸만 제베 소리 와타 주제 와 말아 티 주제 말에 나키 라레 차이게
Ngelkeo.
칸만 제조지 고네 안에 라메 기베 만데 나키 라레 차이도 아니 디데 바테 니가 또 내게 이바다 메바 아니 디라타 가세나 칸만 제게미가 아니 다 주제 시기라
Choje. Moya.
아니 내가 단다 주제다 유튜브 초기에 서래 하마서다 니나 체릭 나네 대시서만 안전 남반에 아니 주제라네 대시기라 반대 시기라나 아니 어머 만데 보내라 소소에 주주이 똑게네 개베 리기베야 치라 어디도
Dida dewa chinara. Okay, and this Okay, so she has written about both sexual and asexual reproduction that was discussed in the last class. She also mentioned about how in some cases there's sex and exchange of DNA, but there isn't reproduction that you mentioned. And there's also sex as well as, in the second case, there's also sex as well as reproduction in, in certain cases. And then do reproduce only through sexual reproduction. So there should be like fusion of male and female gametes. Is my voice breaking? No, right?
Yes, it's breaking up a little
It's
bit.
breaking, right?
I understand. You're describing there can be just sex and no reproduction. There can be sex and reproduction, and then there can be just reproduction, no sex. Is that what I'm hearing? 3 different types.
Yeah, she mentioned her first drawing is only sex without reproduction. And then second one says she cases both sex as well as reproduction. And then third one is the sexual reproduction where there's fusion of 2 gametes.
Oh, I see. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And then from Buddhist perspective, she said there are like 4 explanations to become alive, to origin alive, basically. The first one is like what is being like sexual reproduction in the sense like humans where the baby develops inside the body, inside the uterus, right? And then the one is through the kind of like a miracle or kind of thing where you need only one parent and that parent can give birth to a new baby through kind of magic or miracle things. And then one is the heat, I think it's heat development where we need one to develop certain lives.
Whoops,
Like,
I'm sorry. Can you hold the black?
yeah, yes, sorry. Sure. How much call? Oh yeah. Hello. Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry. So the third one is the heat. I mean, rising life through heat, basically, originating life through heat. That's what is being translated, I guess. And then, oh, sorry. Yes, then the fourth one is through egg, like chicken, I think, where it needs to form an egg, lay an egg, and then grows through and develop into a new individual. So she said, she thinks that she finds the analogy between the asexual reproduction or the one where there's only one parent involved in the giving birth to a new one as the miracle one, the magical one kind of thing, because it needs only one. And then the one that's being done through the fertilization of 2 eggs and then developing that one into mom's womb, that's something that we call it as development in the womb or uterus. I think she finds the analogy between these two. And then she's not sure if the asexual reproduction where only one parent involved is heat one or not. She has a doubt about that. Like,
yeah, I can see of those 4, I am seeing that the baby developing in the womb is like sexual. And Also, the egg development, the chicken or the birds, the egg development, that one is sex as well, like a sexual reproduction for that one. And I like her analogy for the miracle one to be asexual, but I am not sure about the heat.
Okay.
The heat is the one that I don't know.
Tanda ani lagi songa nang shi rwa. Ani ngen tanda kandar kam karma du chini amegi pune nang lo ya salong choya di ani nge ke nang shi res rwa. Are tanda judul di yang ani tanda jigiwa tanda kasa kamje gi thone ke be che jiwa. Ta pampa yana di rikching ma shi gugo ma di da chikpa insa res. Kense?
kena jutul laya dera chita ane inde suyore jutul laya da kamganman inde dejo chigi mare koran so ina pomi just inde telege so mi tawa chamde ane koran so deba chimde ya ji yongere inde pejana mangba suyore ra ki phanso nyamja chigi mare
Ale ta ine ya pudi chaya la
mi ta phala mi tawa chamne ane koran deba chimde ya dende yongere la so
okay. Ine ya di guguru wa ta phaji da maji guguru
ta dita
Gomara ani mix lo taur.
거대 거의 अस라 이나야
Okay.
팅저게 냠제때 지기 말해라 아니 가르잖아 어디 둘라 세마민도 세마요 말에 가르잖아
Okay.
빼잖아 어디 뜻와 아니 빼잖아 가서 인데라래 아니 포이나 포이 세마다 데베 켜기 말해라래
Ale hoya.
까바 당비 미다 아니 주둘레 끼와 디둘라 포래 이나 포이 세마요 말해라래
Okay.
어디 뜻 세마데 착바야
Hoya. Ani tanda gela gi trege di gela yana ya thokbayus ani lagi kagi la pejar go da hako mendara di gela ina trege di ani hako mendos ra kense ani gongge denga tanda gonga ma di chini ya salong chuya ja chiuro da denjurwa jade da denjurwa di gela gi ani chungja chikpa ro thong songs shik den shadra gola shik yashtes oh yeah she added some points on the miracle one, where she said it was mentioned in the text that it is not necessary to have the reproductive organs. Like if you are a male, it is not necessary for that person to have male reproductive, organs. Those people, it seems, those people in the sense, those forms of lives can give birth without sexual reproduction, basically, sexual intercourse. And then there's a point that came up about the heat giving birth. Heat, related to heat. It is mentioned that animals such as lice, it seems lice, lice, those kind of animals or organisms do reproduce through the heat method or the heat development. I think one of the examples or incidences that is given for the heat one is lice that is mentioned in the text.
Yeah, so I am going to show you some pictures of a little creature like a louse that is called an aphid, and it does have a very strange development. Inside of it, it has a little baby, and inside that baby, it has another little baby, and inside that baby, it has another little baby. So it is a very strange kind of development. You are right. But I think it is more like you still need to have one parent. You always need to have one parent. Maybe that is what I would emphasize, is that you cannot get life from nothing. You can get life from one parent, just by, like we did with a potato, you take pieces and then each piece grows. You can get life from one parent. It's okay. You can get life from one parent that doesn't have reproductive organs. It's okay. But you cannot get life from no life. Life always comes from a life before. It's cause and effect. You can't get life from nothing.
Yeah.
You could, like, just from heat. You have to have a parent, one parent.
Okay. 아니 건다 gelagirwa 아니 단다 식 당행이 되게세디 아니 페샤나로리아 페샤샤나 아니 식세디 식 살롱송다지다 식 강다 식게 당델이야 까마지고 식게 당델와 디디 되게기 아니 델이야 페체샤요 라두라임바 디디겁수 gelagi 칼라스나나 든데도 다 얌sem부 슈 차롱 총다 든데 지 아니 gelagi tanda 지식 세주래 에핏 세주래 디기 임바나 벤처나 디낭로리야 보고지기업이나 보고 낭로라 보고여와 보고 낭로라야 보고여와 로직다 강다 르와 든데지기 벨지기 토네 아니 든데로 유림지경네 차롱 총다 지겨래 스타디 얌sem부 슈주래 디gelai제는 시기 있어 뚱게
마라에나 시대스 공개 샤사
아마치고.
샤사 말이다 시대 가르치나 공화당
되게로 되게
되게 샤사 말에 가르치나 시라 공화당이라 가서 좀알아내
어.
그걸 짝바래
어.
디 공화차고래 난 공화네
어허.
거 부고 심부차기라
레레 다
아니
gelagi
담바 낭라 가르치나 다 담바 디주 낭라 호다 강라 아니 무슨 담에다 트는 거래 어디 줄라 되게 세기래
다 아니 gelagi khalaslana shikseedi ngazo ngi gelagi thwa khwalenda jora thege seedi khekuj mewadone thwejiwa chamgi seso thubya se jora di khwalin sare ina yang khari gugurladi seso thubya se de ya phama chikde ngebar du gugures gyuchik kese ani khekuj messaging ani seso se de thubya pekale khapores rwa ringa ma jing ngebar du gugures penchana shita khandar dirik rodin se imbaina ya yana ma yana pharoji kese ta phama ni nanglone chik 인지미 중에 바로 용 거야지. 그래서 언제 차기랬어? 야, 남시에 등간족이 killing 거라. So one of the comments that came up about the heat is in general as such is it is not enough from Buddhist perspective it is not enough to have the body, the chemicals that will form the body, but it has to have soul or the spirit in order to become alive. Yes.
Yes. So there was an interesting experiment done in the 1800s. They wanted to try to measure the substance of the soul. Now, maybe you think this is crazy because the soul has no substance, but that in the 1800s, they were trying to weigh it on a scale. So what they did is they put a man who was dying. He was very, very close to death. They put him on the scale. Then and they weighed him, how much he weighed. And then the moment after he died, they weighed him again. And they could say how much his weight had changed when he died.
Oh, okay. 다 직동 예야스 나올라 안에 딱지 직치요레스 콘저기 딱지 나올라야 가르치에 탑치치열라디 남시세디 지고 가지치게메 캔세 다디 캔저기 얌침부 통고레스 캔서 통고레스 가진라나 남시세들이야 쑥 네바 쑥메인디 지세직다 용아이 요마르바다 디인디 디 얌침부 통고레스 이네 콘저기 탑시 가르치열라디 미직 배 총로 유디 값스 아니 간주 탄다 가자 체다 간다 지세게 추저가 많이 해주 아니 마시 공을야 아니 체제 지세제 아니 시차와당 아니 콘조기 지세 시켜버렸어 캔세 니기 가르던 게 열라데 남시디 포저와이나 단 남시 강도 수분이 된저와이나 남시 콘조기 계시 콘조기 사마당시 남시리야 지세지와나 지세디 예루고 와 니디 다 콘조기 다 녜게 탑시 채워지 아니 따제직 치요레스 yes.
So they actually did do that experiment in the 1800s in Scotland. You could do a similar kind of experiment in your mind about a baby. If you put a baby on the scale, tiny new baby, and then you had the soul enter the baby, would the baby gain any weight?
Okay. 아니 단다 딱제 디 스코틀랜드에 제급지와 델 체브레스. 다 단다 ngazo 남 가사 딱제 디 보기 낭럴리에 체비 있나야 용어야 지겨레스. 다 기시드네 짐바나 벤처스나 보디르와 아니 지세 디가리야 다 지세게 추지강샤. 아니 남시 담만 콘저기 뒤지글이야 남시 슈크세 다 사주로 지여베나. 아니 지세게 전에 남시 마슈 공기 보디기 지세데다 남시 슈사베 젤이야 지세디 도레지 용구여레스. Yes.
So do you think that the man changed in his weight when he died? Or do you think that the baby would change in its weight when the soul entered? So I'm asking, do you think it would change the weight on the scale when the soul left or when the soul came in?
Okay. 아니 gelagi kranzolo chiwar더라. kranzo sambal이야. 미디 마총 공리야. 다 종득 없은 남시디 되누로 와. 르베실로리야 남시디 포도에 값수 아니 미디기 지세마 차기를 섬구드베스 직차서 this 지가 직차서 니와디 보호델이야 남시 슈이 값수 아니 보디기 지세야 파르기를 챙겨드베스 쟁이민들 소리야. 상마 쟁이민들이 왜? 야, 뒤 냠을 왜? 알레 딱. 알레, 오케이. 감감을 제마타도 아니 남시 슈가 뒤냠을 왜? 오케이. So, in terms 아니 미게마딘 남시야 별도디 여마라. 지세 차야들이 여말 삼고다. So, in case of the adult who is dying, they think there won't be any change in the weight, and then they're saying that in case of baby, it is not possible to weight the baby before entering the soul. Yeah, because it is being believed that as soon as the fertilization takes place, the soul enters. It's like in the sense these two processes happen simultaneously.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are correct. The man did not change weight. So that experiment is possible, and it was done, and he did not change weight. And maybe this is not a surprise to you, because I believe this is like a Buddhist teaching that the soul does not have substance.
Tadidiro keranso digores keranso lagyo de mares mi tanda shirunge jwa digi jise dila yo dro mares namshi pa po wake up so and didi ani keranso le ya yamse boros tongu mares kajinlana nangbe ngen tadang kona ani namshi se de ya suk jig me ba mandi ta jise da de je yonga yo marwa. Yes.
And I agree with you. It is not possible for us to weigh a baby before it is alive.
아니 계란수 냠도 gelagi 문제 지기였어. Baby is that so true color 당아서 최소 통마 맞추 공으로 지니 지세기야지 다 칼레하고 그랬어. 미시 바지그랬어. Yes.
But I will talk today some more about when the soul enters, some possible ideas for when the soul enters. It is not always, not everyone agrees that the soul enters at fertilization.
딱 gelagi tari ina gelagi ro lopchi na ya dinanglolia. 아니 딱칼로 dia 차롱추 유림 나올리야 두주 딘레지글이 안남시 페시 주구 여사레세 사수 여사레스 여시베 사수 카제지 gelagi 시기 있어 가질라나 미상마기 애니 감감마 드레와 안남시 주구여와 켈렌치기요 말했어. 해세. Yes.
Although it is not really a topic for science, it still is fun for us to talk about them together. Science can really only talk about the fertilization and the body, not so much about the soul.
따지단 디 깨져시에 디 주시주로와 디디 체리랑기 토네 시에지 말했어. 현세에 남시 슈가세야 다지 그러 된소 체리 토네 시에토에지 말했어. 체리 거두인 바이나야 감감마 드레다다 아니 직 수부야 차롱 총야 디 꼴라 깨지시도 그랬어. 이나 남시세야 디 강래야 슈슈시에토 말했어. 이나 양 아란 속에 내당 직 토네 아니 직 펜수 니츠 칼로다 제레치야다 딘레 직 치기요랬어. Yes.
Okay. So are we ready to start and continue on in our conversation about embryos and development then? After fertilization, we were just talking about fertilization when we ended.
딱 가진 진짜들 참샤윤디 간주 탄다 아니 사병 뒤저르세 좋아 디 꼴이야 간주 깨지시에지는 참샤브레스 와.
Okay. This gives me a chance to quickly click through the slides from yesterday to remind you about them. So yesterday, we were speaking about sex determination and the female reproductive system and fertilization.
따디 술지도아 디 페리든 때와 나 커싱 디 꺄종 럽시그로아 페릴 단직치인스 당보 가서 가르치열라디 아니 포모 연제 제야디 거르게 쉐브레스 다나시 애니 포모다 따당아서 푸다 포모기 포다모기 애니 깨베기 말아 다임바스라 데네제네 마치치네 엔타마델라 아니 간조 단다 감카르마 뒤에지와 디강리아 안테브레스. Yes.
So for the nun who shared her journal, remember she made all of the sperm Y, but actually half the sperm are Y and half of them are X. So this is showing how half and half of the sperm have different chromosomes, but all of the eggs are X. They are only X.
Okay. 당아주 신리자여디 세미나를 예고야지 가리열라나 감 까마기 낭로리야 기시 계란 속에 단다 최봉기 천재 배시단계 여배나 아니 포기 담는 용액이 아니 단다 감 까우디기 낭로리야 최봉 체가 X 임바직다 체가 Y 임바직 셈랑에 고그레스와 아니 일단 뭐이 단데 때나 카마리 임바나 안 최봉 가디 난 이가 상만 낭로리야 XX 체결했어 니디 인지미지 신디 낭로리야 야윤도 있는 셈나 샤고야 지레스 yes
Okay. So then we spoke about how on the inside and also on the outside, we are building either the male body or the female body, on the inside or the outside.
당아저야 직 가르때 일라나 숙부 낭로기 통해 살론 총에는 칠이야 아니 요와도 당이 바이나 딘조 아니 단다 부당 보모야나 포다 모기 ngoli야 수 살론 총연디 컨데스 요도 예메 차상 가서 때 임바스 yes
Okay. And then we spoke about if you have built a female body, then how does it change during each month? What are the cycles each month?
아니 기시 가서 보면 지금 바이나 캐스웨 드디 값스 아니 소소의 낭로리야 나와 찍 낭로로 코르균 기림바 니 낭로로 요와 가래 주고 메 차상 가서 찍대 버렸어 yes
So the male body does not have a cycle every month.
다 부인 바이나 아니 나와 찍 낭로로 코르균 세 기림바 찍 연구요 말했어 캐세 yes
But ours does cycle. And there has been one study I read about. If the man and woman are sleeping beside each other each night, then he will make more sperm. He doesn't normally cycle if he is alone, but if he is sleeping beside a woman, he can be affected by her cycle and he can make more sperm right at this time, right when she is ovulating and she is fertile. He will make a little bit more sperm right then.
아니 부인 낭로리야 아니 단다 코르균 세 주민도와 안졸리야 코르균 세 주르와 기시 아니 딱제 교진 심주지 교진에 가는 예열라베나 계세 보지다 보모지 냠도 도시니야 쉽지는 얘기 여비나 계세 예외 값수 맞아 보모기 디낭을라 코르균지 용구로와 와 나와 찍 낭을려 꼬라게 해주와 드디 값수 보모디기 단당한수 카말 르든치에 뒤져주와 네 뒤져 값도 아니 부델이야 슈켄제진이 부디기 감가를 망아 죽기와 지야나 감가를 망아 끼준치기와 직산예 체열스 뒤져 네 값수 네 인디 보모디기 코르균기 수부기 낭을려 코르균기 괜찮이 부들이야 슈켄제야직 산예 청요레스 괜찮아 yes
So we are sensitive to where the other person is in their cycle. We can tell, we can feel where the other people around us are in their cycle, though it is not conscious. So for you ladies, have you noticed that your cycles can become in the same rhythm with each other? The women who live together can start to have their periods at the same time.
Oh, so women are sensitive to each other, right? In terms
We are,
of cycle.
yes.
Okay.
Men are sensitive to women, and also women are sensitive to women.
Okay. 알레타 먼저 이 숙배 나올 보면이 숙배 나올 이바에 나 나와직 나올 코르균지 용해스도아. 디디 아니 부인 나올 코르균 요마레테 강달 먼저리야 코르균 조신 백업수 콘조기 소라직 랑신기 소르토 요레스. 켄세 숙배 나올 요와도게들야 직 소와 겜부차야 직 연구 요레스. 다나시 가서 부모 이바에나 부모 나올이야 소와 겜부지 연구 요레스. 벤치셔나 부모님 냠도 대베이나. 냠도 치네 쉽게 여비에나 아니 파주 슈겐제 치네 아니 다생 파베다 상마 뒤찍려야 용해야지 연구요레스 켄스웨 고세스웨 기시 유림 남기 소소소 미지 소소소기 나와디 코르기 로가로가로와 로와 디인디 딱해시 부모님 냠도 내게 여베나 됐스웨 네게 여베나 아니 파주 슈겐제 치네 아니 코르기 찌기 강라 파베 뒤찍기 강라 용해야지 아니 연구요레스 켄스웨 yes
So perhaps they have noticed if you live together, that women who live together, they start to have their periods on the same cycle. Has anybody noticed that in this room?
아니 든데직 단당에 쉬임바 부모님 냠도 되게 여외나 아니 수빈낭로기 코르균디야 뒤냠 차야지 아니 다신 파베다 상와 뒤질직리야 레야로직 제 든데직 더나 총수웨스 계란소 나와 총수웨스 Yeah, I think some of them noticed that this happens.
Yeah. My daughters, they sometimes joke, like if one of them gets her period, then the other one will say, no, stay away from me. I don't want to catch my period. They joke about it.
Okay. 아니 gelagi pomo imba na phazu joglang gresra kisi mi ropa pomo jigle ya ani dasen pabe gozu wen tagyong eta mayung sngai dasen phabdu mindus lani ani khonjogi ta choplang ani keje sigres. Yes.
Okay. Oh, so there are many characteristics that we feel when we are getting our period. And if we pay very close attention, we can notice a rhythm to those things as well.
다 ngazo dasen phabe kapsu ani yang kheje manda shimbaji ngungu yores rwa. Di dele yang ngazo kisi tonang ship sago chitu wa ina. Ani khonzo di gyuwa dinjoli ina yang ani thurim gi khebar roji ba. कब दिने जिला दिने छोंया दे या जिमा दले इम्बने तुझे तक लिया दी कोरा क्या दिए जी माजू थोड़ा युंगरेस yes.
Then we spoke a little bit about infections that you can get also, a little bit about women's health and how to keep this area clean because the 3 holes are so close to each other. It is easy to get some bacteria from your anus into the other holes where it can cause an infection.
다나시 가지고 가서 인연가 당야 이거리야 롭종 치임바스와 아니 부가솜디 년답 쉬우줄이야 빈상 디게 짱만 열고에 개침부 가르치네 이메 찍려야 아니 가서 저 강달 년가 중송에나 신바지려야 거줘야 다 딘지 가지고 깨지시임바스. Yes.
Then we began speaking about fertilization, and there's fertilization in many different organisms with many different structures. So not only our human structure, but also organisms that fertilize outside the body. And then in this case, in the plant, it's inside the body, but the body is built very differently.
Okay. 당아저기 안에 감감을 뒤에지와 사변 두절치에 디강리야 때브레스. 아니 사변 두절치에 디 미자 마임바 속차 망부지낭로리야 총대체 디양 총당마다마다 벤차샤나 디임바나 수부기 치로리야 단다 사변 두절치에 디임바 냐다 아니 백바된조 와 다나시 디디 아니 감감을 두절 사변 두절치에 디 수부 낭로리야 차기요레스 디치싱 나임바 아니 이네양 수부기 꾀바디 마다와 임바나 디 수부 낭로리야 아니 두절치에 지기 차기요레스. Yes.
So there's so much diversity in bodies. Remember, the mushroom also is still having sexual reproduction as well. Did your mushrooms make a spore print for you?
Sorry, can you repeat the last question?
I was just saying there's so many different kinds of organisms on Earth, and they're all having fertilization. And I wondered, did you see the spore print from the mushroom?
따여마라. 잠깐만. 알레 참인데. Okay. Sorry. So it seems we didn't find the spores in the mushroom that we kept yesterday in the lab.
Oh, bad luck. Do you know you could get one from the kitchen? If you have mushrooms in your kitchen.
Yeah. We got it. Actually, we went and got the mushroom from the kitchen and we cut into half. And then kept one on the white paper and the other half on the black paper, and then covered both with the plastic cups. But then
and no spores.
No, right? No, sorry.
Okay. Well, maybe you can try this in your own rooms. If you find other mushrooms growing outside, you can do this in your own room.
Okay. Okay, sure. 따단다 gelagilaya dirwa ani nganzu subugi chupcha seju ta subugi kuib naga manda yungures kense penchashana mida ani jishing rojin bana bet kuib manda redwa dini indi ta ine yang azu semna chiksha goe kharlana mangbuji nangloya ani kham karmar dujor chie ji gyurim di yungures sarbe gyurim nanglole kense ta jigdi khaseng azu shamong di ta chebre shamong di ngazugi ta kyunzogi ngazu kalorda kisi shamong kiyong ena ngazu taje shidang rojura manda jure ine ya gate slamogi tanda shamong kiyong jine ngazu chega tumbustang ani shamong di dusma khabubni shayur taje khanala khabub shu kausna nakpus nangla khabubire ine ngonchna sinru di ma thorgo e rojure shamong ajirwa shamong ki sinru di dingel dwa ine ngazu gi di gurim taje di nangla le thumaso di indi kisi kran zogi ani chilol rojine shamong de rawen na kran taje china digires khachi ole di shamong di di yowa rojiwa yowa di ma ko shan di gerwa yowa di ko ani gang go jiwa to ro di ma khabumnisha shu ka we na nakpo ni chiga khabumnisha an di gang li ya di shamo de ma ka me gi che to mog roji gi ki mog roji na chigi kabnisha we na di wali ya ani sinru khora ma hlung yong gor ni ma chik sha to we na yes.
So I have sometimes said that because there's so much sex in the world, it is also the source of a lot of the beauty in the world. So if we did not have so much fertilization and sex in the world, it would not be so beautiful. Think about all the beauty of the flowers in the world, or the beautiful wings on the butterfly, or the beautiful tail on the peacock. Right? These are, or the beautiful colors and songs of birds. These are things that they are using in order to mate, and they are also a source of beauty in the world.
Ta gela korangi ro tadang ro chkhare la na jamling din anglo ya ta khammar duya da ta khamkarma duya de gyurim mangbo do na ra mi do di gi eni nga ju gi minglam ning nanglo ya jenjong je chung gi res kense pena cha sha we na ta nga ju medo gi chushi te we na chushi ra mi do as ro dinjo changma ani ta khammar duy chi ne ene toni yong ya jires kense ta na shi nga ju ta chimjela mo yuwa chimjela mo korangi shokpe nanglo ya nga ju kwe ba dinjo ning jmo de do dinjo ine ya di chumrejik chayo res ta na shi nga ju ta mapje yuwa mapja gi chole te we na mapja gi chondo dinjo pe ning jmo do as ro dinjo changma ani gela gi ta dang che we na ani ta kamkarma duini khangdar chik khalor phomogi tikjor da dewa cheni yongni cheni digi enzamni dinang ya ani ning jimo migle ya zebojik tuyegi ken ro chik chayor tingers yes.
So this list is a list of the stages that we are going to discuss in order. So we are starting with fertilization, and then after the zygote has formed, is fertilized, then it will start to cleave, and then the cells will start to move around into 3 layers in the embryo, and then the body of the embryo. Can you see this? Is that
yes.
Okay? Okay. I'm worried this, okay. Then the body of the embryo will start to have a pattern, like a top and bottom and left and right pattern. And then the cells inside the body will start to become different from each other. So in this order, this list of stages, I just want to make sure they know the Tibetan word for each of those. I'm sorry it is not on the slide. Can you make sure they have the translation for each?
Sure. Ta di dirwa nga chu chabe gi gyurim nanglo ya phangrim ro jire khense charim gi gyurim ji tangbodi khare saben dugong se jwa rwa konda saben dejor rwa fertilization se di saben dejor landa do kham karma dreya jwa di chage rwa nibadi ani thanda subgyur gi rimba se di khense ta di khala wana dejor chasabe kapsu kharcha ire nga chu chabung de masone chik ma shyo marwa ani chabung pha kha kheya jwa kha kheya gi gyurim jwa di ani subgyur gi rimba se de khense cleavage se di somebody gastrulation de dwa gastrulation se di ani thudum thube rimba se jigur thwe se na khare ching ching ne ya guyo dang ya jwa ching ne chig le ya thwe ba khare ta thana thudum thube rimba khense ani embryo patterning se di thru tanda thumsingi kweba thudang kweba se di kharla ra le go di ani khorangi khasa tanda thumsing yuwa embryo se di thumsing re da thumsing digi ye la yun ding da wo se de le ta khangda khajo gi thoni ye ba je yo samji gi ya chi khense we kweba cha dang ji thama di khare cell differentiation se di ani thabung khegyur yana chabung khare 예저 지림 다 차분 코로 ngo loga gyure jerwa di tuje delya ani chabung yeje chirim yana chabung kegyurslane shigur la.
Okay, so we are almost done talking about this, and then we will talk about cleavage next. But let's have a few more things to say about fertilization.
Ta de dinga zo kasing karsherlana ani tanda saben dujorjiwa di chayoreswa ani tene tanda ngajogi ane tanda subgyur seishwa subgyur girim ya dres yene thangbo yene ngajo ane saben dugong yana saben dujor che gi girim dingali ya tistagin is yes.
So remember for fertilization, we said that there were several steps that you had to finish all of these in order to be fertilized. The sperm and the egg had to find each other. Then the egg had to block any extra sperm from coming in. So only one sperm could enter. Then we said that the membranes needed to fuse between the sperm membrane and the egg membrane. And then the last thing, we had to fuse the nuclei. The sperm nucleus had to find the egg nucleus and the two of them to melt together.
Okay. Ta kasing tanda nganzogi tanda sopen dugong se jwa. Di gyurim delaya gyurim shi yobaji ane kasing shi yoswa di sem dangye bachis. Di gyurim chasang ji injim ji rogo gores. Kense 당보디 갈라나 캄캄을 파주 최고도와 당보 최진의 최고 그랬어. kense 니버디 갈라나 최사베젤이야 캄 까울 근데 캄마올이야 캄가르 찌기 최사베나 카마르디기 네버도 셴바누즈 까고 그랬어. kense 시버디 somebody 아니 단다 캄카르마르 니갈이야 끼모여와 끼모니디 아니 자르고야지 투고야지 아니 타마디 가래 아니 캄카르마르기 떼닝 냠도 제고야지. kense Tening about the Yungores. Tening nuclei says to did tening nucleus lana had a chigre, nuclei lana chigle manga. No mangsir, yes.
So I want to talk for a moment about some misunderstandings that are very common about fertilization. The first one is that the fastest sperm always wins, like it's the very first sperm to get there. It's the one that wins the egg. And we have given some characteristics to that sperm, like it was aggressive and attacking and overcoming the egg.
Tadi nganzogi tanda saben dujoriwa. Digi golia ani kolo koan norboyorwa, koan loyo. Nendegi nizu kashe yunguyores. Digan kashe shigins tangbo di karlawana ani tanda saben dujo cheyende kam mau de la kam kau digi ani tugudoa chegudoa. Di cheya di khadu imbaina di chengegi ani kam kau di gyoshures yeroda. Sun gyoena di topgures yejorwa. Tanashi ani sun gyoa yobatsa maimba ani pagedelia ani nganzo kalor ta nganzo dungthuro yao lagore ta kandar kam kau di dochin kam mau delia ani dunga yagiwa ta kandar tamjing chigi na badojik kense dindejige ani samla dangdangji yunguyores di kwa lobares kense. Yes.
So it is true that the sperm are racing toward the egg. They are swimming as fast as they can toward the egg. But it is not true that the very first one to arrive at the egg fuses with her.
Ta chitang nizu tebe narwa tanda kam mau mang konda kam kau mangbo shiuji kam mau choliya gyugyu yawa di nizu dembares. Kang gyugyu yawa di nizu dembares. Inaya pageliya tangshu lemye jura ta kangdo gyokshu siya jure. Di eni kam mau nyamdo jigiri siya nizu di zuma chayores. Ta kangdo kolo chayores. Yes.
So on the sperm, here are some sperm heading towards the egg. And on the head of the sperm here, there are many chemicals, and those chemicals stick and they come off. And as time goes on, the sperm is maturing. So the sperm is swimming through the female, and some of the chemicals are coming off, and some new chemicals are coming on, and it is maturing. It is getting ready to bind to the egg.
Okay. Tadira di perishtua. Didi we this gyogyoros tongode. Nizo gangza kare kamgar dalo. Ta kamgar gangza ya gyungures. Pune ta pomoy nanglali ya tanda dyudine rogurwa. Di pugu nanglali ya dreve kapsu korangi 차베기 림베기 gyugi rogures. Keswe je khashejik ma thoya. Khashej di je korangi ngoli ya jargoya. Ta didi kharla bana pegegi ngolan jarali ya tradichia. Keswe 차베기 gyurim rojik chon rogures. Yes.
So I guess I'm trying to think of an analogy for this. Let's say you have a big exam and you're getting ready for the big exam, and there is somebody in your class who is the fastest. That person can read so fast. They can read really, really fast. But that does not mean that they are going to do the best on the exam. Speed is not everything here. So these sperm some of them are faster than others, but it does not mean that they are going to be able to find the egg the best or that they are going to be able to stick to the egg the best. If they are not ready when they get there, they are not mature enough and ready enough when they get there, it does not matter that they were fast.
다 gelagi perjejik shabe na swa delia khaju sungala droba na sun yoga yobena di kammawe nyam de jetu se di khaba mewaji gelagi pesengi ton de truba na swa pensa na anile kharan solo igje jiyobe na igje jiyobe che changma izele thadi chipa chiyorda ina ya mi khashi loya yoku shu jiyores igi yoku shu lo thoyaji kense igi yoku lo tho jamgi midi igzeli yapu chiyobe ngeba yomares igje nanglo ya yapu jiyungu yo yuk thedi yaja mangbu shrayo khaba yomares swa di indi yokse se di delia jewa chayo yomares kense da pen di indi da pen jishning tangi shiwa danshi di ya drewe kapsu ani khoranzu ya chalong chunggu laswa chalong chungada phage gangle ngweli yan jarala thadi gyurimdi chigi dugo lasa kesi kho khajoshi yogo dotho wena ya ige gangle jor chadi kapsu kesi ani thadi mewena kese thadi mew che chalong takda chung mewena ani phage kham mawi nyam de jetu we mares di indi yogo khajosh to di chigi ani khorangle ya thopsha ani phage jejor cheya ji yungyo khabayo mares yes.
Or let's say you were all running toward a door. You wanted to get through the door and you ran towards the door. The fastest one to get to the door does not necessarily have the key. If he does not have the key, he cannot go through the door. Maybe a slower one that has the key gets there.
하나씩 빼주심. Yes, sorry. 다 빼주심 맞지 샤웨나. 결혼서 상마 미스 아니라 상마로 와 되게 곧 치료리야 되는 탑시 제네 고담리야 육루여베나. 당시 중에지 말에 원디 치료 당고 되는도 해봐요 말 가진 나나 계세 미디라고 라 디미 메웨나. 계세 권자게 샤네 디미 메웨나. 안주 통말 세상 찍치나 잡로 닐레치네 랭이들이야 디미 여웨나 디 치료를 양고할 텐도 해지거스. 디 인디 욕세세 디 강리야 아니 제바 메워지. 계세. Yes.
Okay, so it is not always the fastest sperm that gets in. The next misunderstanding is that we tend to give the sperm like a character, like it was a human. And we say it is masculine and active and strong. And then we give the egg the character like she is a female, like she is waiting quietly and peacefully and just waiting for the male to come.
다나신 건저 감깐말이야 미 뒤셔로지 샤네 에네 뒤셔 야난지 연구여레스 캐제로지 파드네 캐세 베나샤샤와나 맞저기 미시야디 무 미든즈이나 부인든즈 가디이나 떡체로지다 내가 가르치베나 지 교로지도 숙체로지 연구여레스 봐 다나시 부모인디 겁수지 냠총화로 나왔다 간다 냠총화로체 아니 지 가리바나 흘레로지체 시대서로체 직 중요할이야 구댕에로지 남바지 어저랑 시스템당을 연구여레스 맞저기 깨지 대셔야 연디 감간말이야 아니 드네로지기 돈에 캐저샤 딱 캄마우스에 건다 캄까우디 아니 직 부시기 체요 바지 켄세 양 캄마 까우스에 디 캄가르스에 엑스에 디 공아인 봐 공아다 캄가르 찍바르러 디니 건다 캄마르 찍바레 디디 애니 가두이나 엽도로 제 시가 부모기 시가 로지글이야 샤니 체네 제셔 야난 준고이레스 this way yes.
So actually when you look at if you look at fertilization on a movie of fertilization, what you will see is the egg. This is the surface of the egg. The egg is actually reaching out and holding the sperm. She's like embracing the sperm and pulling the sperm inside. So she actually has some choice of which sperm she will bring inside of her and which ones she will keep out. She is not only passive and quiet.
따디디르와 디 피리디 단다 가자 사베 두공기 남바지와 디 피리지레스와 디들이야 카르도 키모로스도야 되라 라과로 남바로스도와 두신 탐교기 남바로스도와 디디 가서 가르쳐요라 카마르 차요달로 카마르 차요 값수 카마르 인디 값수 카마르기 가르치요라디 딱 카마르 연구로와 카마르 연디 에네치네 수 숭치네 나올로야 랭교로징 남바 연구요레스 켄스베 딘데치네 케세 수 숭치네 랭교요베나 코나라 남가지 요레스 딱 가기 숭기인 바 가기 파치로 삐기인 바세 남가디 아니 카마르라도와 디치 디인디 디도네 가서 가르려레디 첼레로도 마소네 카마르기 레가 망부 치기요와 켄세 다가식 레가제 마치 진엽도치네 야나니 칼라르 칠레 넘버 마임바 체네 고데야로 직 마임바 테페메기 에네 단다 카마르디양 레가 지기요레스 yes.
So this is less like a rape and more like consensual, right? So we tend to talk about it like the man just runs up and takes the egg, right? But actually it is more consensual, more agreement. You know, the female chooses the male and takes him inside.
Okay. ता 당기 감마 카사 감가르디 교니 용체네 에네 페멜리아 쩨엠 로직 넘버 마임바 켄스웨 디 넘버 마임바 가르쳐열레디 코란니갈리아 문투 여베토네 아니 감카마니디 감카마니디 두줄 체기요베 넘버 로지 요레스 켄세 니갈리아 문투 펜즈니가 문투 여베토네 체기로지 요레스 yes.
Okay. The next misunderstanding on my list is that we tend to think as soon as the sperm is inside the egg, then the nuclei fuse immediately.
ता yang ko lokbaji khare yolla bena saben dujong galreda digong galya ani kisi kamkarmar cheba chamgi ani thanda tening ni di ani sejor yonggur sejorwa di ani ko lokrup chagores kense.
It can actually take a whole day. After the sperm comes into the egg, it can take a whole day before the nuclei fuse to each other.
ता दी दिरवा तंदा दी kamkar di kamar gi nanglol chu lenswa di lensa we jelia chamcham teni ni di chu sejor chia yana dejor chia ya chamcham nimachi gangza gurgires kense ni thoma tha do ani tanda teni ni di dejor yo mayong ai kense yes.
So I know there is the Buddhist belief that the heat and the energy when a couple is having sexual intercourse, that energy and heat can attract the soul from the bardo to come in.
Also, the heat and the energy in the male.
Well, when they are having sexual intercourse, when a mother and father are having sexual intercourse, the monks told me that the spirits are thought to come from the bardo and be attracted to that heat and energy.
Oh, okay. 다 안간쪽이 칼라 다 포다 뭐 책절 체외 값수 안에 숙벽이 최당 누바지여와 gelagi and it's nangchog to ne shedang ji konyo yes khar konyo yeladi tanda chekjor chewe kapsu kense pomo chekjor chewe kapsu didi ane nubajik da subu ki treasure da khanda treasure wa di gi ene namshe chu kugure se jik namsho rangshi gi di chosu ta long yong ya ro sta ku yong ya jik keji she jik gelagi konyo yes kense yes.
But I want to remind you that it can take a whole day for the sperm nucleus to fuse with the egg nucleus. So that does not happen in the moment that they are having sexual intercourse.
Tadidi gelai khare chensu che ilabena ani tanda lure chi shimbe kapsu kese chekje chi shimbe kapsu tu tarang la ya ani tanda tining di ani sejor chigi mewaji kensewe didi ani gelai takalor yangsi jarje che roji yes.
And what you are seeing in this picture, here is the sperm nucleus, the blue, it has come into the egg. Over here is the egg nucleus. Do you see that it is getting rid of something? Here it is getting rid of something outside of the egg. It is not quite ready yet to fuse with the sperm. So there is a delay while the egg gets ready to fuse. It prepares to fuse with the sperm.
Okay. The di period is doa. Di period tewe nang. Di period di ngombush doa. Ngombush doa. Di khala wa nang anju kam kawe nang lo ya ju simbe kam mawigi ani tining di chagores. Kese. Tanashi di kare di kam mawigi tining che di kam kawegi tining re. Di dingi poron rejo chigure doa. Seju chigure doa. 다나신 델라베 때에는 딘데 통고레스 디 카레 로지 대세 이야기열라디 단다 캄 마우디기 아니 지캄 까월기 띠닝디 추 제절 맞춰이네 아니 디 나올이야 30로 치고에 유림지야 연구해 와지 캐세 yes.
So she is over on this side of the cell and she is getting ready. She gets rid of some things and then she comes over and fuses with the male nucleus. So it takes some time for this to actually happen.
다 찍어 찍기 한다. 단기 시원하신 디 처리로 지 아니 코란 처리 예외 값수 아니 수용 제 신이 아니 단다 감가기 아니 땡닝다 냠도 제드레지. 현세. 어디 디스팅 고르고레스 투지. Yes.
There is another misunderstanding, and this is that this one is very common today because not everyone is sure of their religion, but they have this feeling, some idea, no matter what their religion is, they have this idea that there is some kind of life that comes into the body, like a moment when the soul comes into the body. So it's not only the Buddhists who believe this, also the Christians and the Jews and the Muslims, they all believe this idea that there must be a moment when the soul comes into the body.
That is this to di ane tanda nganzogi khala ore ji kolo mangboji gi chide kachin labena chulu mangboji gi ane namshe siye di ane namshe siye shugu ye waji khelemba nangbaza mayin barwa inaya di namshe shuya de dinjoliya niju ro da masone chasawa ji mewro sta goya oma chodi ane khonje sambaleya ane khala ore ta di gelai khabdula mas inaya nganzo tanda rigje jiwa rigje khora ane namshe re samay samlo jiwa di ane kolo chenge mangbo shujire stengsang. Yes.
But because they are confused and not sure, they think that the DNA is the soul. So many people have this misunderstanding. They think here is the DNA, it comes into the cell and the DNA mixes together. That must be when the soul comes. It is the DNA. Maybe the DNA is the soul.
Okay.
And this is the misunderstanding right here, that the DNA equals the soul, right? So I think you would recognize that from all of your studies, that the soul in most religions, the soul does not have substance. It does not have material. And the soul is not the DNA. They are not the same thing.
Ta di ngi tang shi wana shi mangboji gi susun namshi shuk se di yichi chigi wache kense namshi se di karim bada ya namshi shukdang da dinju gyurim di yago ji neju ji ko ma to di khojo sem nang le karsa me ngla di DNA korang ane namshi yimba roji kense di insa re sam ro jerwa di ji yungu yores ene yang kala warta tadang she bajin tebe na ane namshi se de le ya suk mewa ro di induta di tone tebe na ane namshi se de da DNA chikpa chaya roji da mindwa onde ji tadang ji yungu yores. Yes.
So this is a term in English for if you are confused, if you are thinking that the DNA is the soul, we call that genetic essentialism. And this is the idea that your essence, like who you are, is in your DNA, is in your genetics. It is true that a lot of your characters and behaviors and things are in your genetics, but not all of them, not your essence.
Okay. Ta de dirwa thangi DNA di namshe yimba gi samlo khordang korea shitwa di khelenge ros la warta handa yiche chi gyurim delya ane inji gi thani genetic essentialism se yures kense ane di gi kharla yorla di susu ngone su yimba yana susu gi shigyu khari yimba changma ane gene gi thaju chigir se yura di chagures di samlo yunge tawa khinge dinjolya tawa delia and genetic essentialism la yores kense ina ya chidang tadang che na kerangi khejo inare shiju mangboshi ane gene gi tanda rigje gi nanglo yungu yores ine changma rigje gi thone jeshe yago maras kense. Yes.
So science, although we can describe when the DNA comes in and how the DNA mixes, I do not think that scientists know a moment when a new individual is made. Okay, we know the moment when DNA mixes, but this is not the same thing as a moment when a new individual is made.
Okay.
So I want to share some other times when a new individual might be made. So, and these are not scientific, these are just ideas for when a new individual is made.
따데로와 체리 토네 데셰 갸베이나 릭제세야 디 당기 캄카르마 제야 로다타 지도 디 카두 디게메세야 디 딘조 체리 토네 제투 겨 가사 데셰 야투그레스 이네양 kiu sawaji khadu chagre se jora ta khangda khangsa sawaji khadu chagre la gora ta khangda namshi shuni tanda mi ji imba na mi jig namshi shuni shini cheso chube jorwa di khadu chubgu me se di cheri tende ji ngede jig shetu yo mares keswe ta tanda chala imba na cheri thone ma imba yang jig sheju mangboji yonggu yores tuju dinde jigla ani ane cheso sawaji chubgu se ta dinde durim dinde jigla ya an cheso sawaji chubgu se gi sheju mangboji samlo samju ro da masonde mangboji yores ina yang 딘조 체리 토네 제시 야샤 즉 차유어 말했어. 캔세. Yes.
So here are some other times, 4 other arguments for when a new individual might be made.
알레 따디디 가디 칼라오라타 체소세 체소 사와지 추베 주여와 다 강사 사와지 임바네 디 사와디 칼라오레 쇠야디 투주 가디레세기 에네 쩌바로지면 돼. 아니 쩌바 셴바 시지겨레스. Yes.
Okay, so the first argument is an interesting one. It is based on symmetry. So in almost all countries right now, when somebody dies, they can write the time that the person died on a certificate. It says this person died at 10:21 on Friday at such and such time. How do they know when the person's life is over? And if we can use that symmetry, then we would say, when does their life begin? When their life is over and when their life begins. This is the argument on symmetry. So when their life is over, it is because their brain waves, their brain electricity and energy has changed, has stopped. Okay, it's different. It is not like a living person's. And so we say that person is brain dead.
Okay.
We don't, in fact, use their heart. We don't use their heart. We don't say, oh, their heart stopped, because we could always put a machine and run their heart for them. We could even put a machine and run their breathing for them, and they would still be alive because their brain is still alive. But when their brain is dead, when the brain electricity is dead, then we say the person is dead, and that time goes on the certificate.
따디 지시 찍디 칼라나 찍규르 세지 캔스베 맞아 점링기 사자 등상 롱바 망보직 나올려야 미직 총구르와 미직 총와에나 코 가디 총샤 추즈 따 세바다 세랑다 사다 이이라 아니 추즈 가져스 총샤 깔차 가져스 까마 가져스 총샤 깔차 가져간 총샤 세 토게 치도 그랬어 캔스베 디 총와다 양디 카레 심바직이야 케발레야니 냠로리야 아니 총자 가져시기면 직규를 가져시기면 터네 데셰야 당지 연구였어. 땅 아주 체리 토네 셰비나 시레스에디 가리 연구를 가리게 하는야 시샤규를 두 아주기 레베 나올려야 아니 단당 아주 달린 용해야지와 디 참체위나 간달 레베기 젤레 참체위나 디 뒤주 디 토네 아니 아주기 미디 시레라 요레스 닝참 닝유와 닝서 파래야지와 디디 참체마절이야 따요 말스 가진 라비나 닝델야 아주 단다 추제기 토네 아니 답돼야 직다 닝기 첼레레야 아니 카삽 체토야지 용구여레스 니치네 체리기 토니 총세디 인지미지 레베 낭로리야 따차 거륜다 달렌체야다 딘조 참체요나 아니 시니미디 총레라요레스 yes.
So we can look at all the countries in the world and what are their laws. And they have laws that a person has, a living person has rights. So even if you are lying in the bed and you are in like a coma, right? You still have rights. Nobody can come in and take out your liver or take out something from your body. You have rights. You have a human's rights because you are alive. Once your brain has died, then we say you don't have rights anymore. Now they can come in and they can take your kidneys, they can take things and use them to give to sick people. They can do whatever they want to you. After you are brain dead, you don't have any rights anymore.
Okay. 다 룽바 하람 잠링기 룽바 창만 나올려야 단다 팀 주요레스와 팀 디칼라나 드럼이 톱당 세주와 디다 드라이요 카를라나 미디 키시 당기 총세디 참 가와샤서 레베기 칠레 참 체마제 세주 샤임바 디 인디 크랑 키시 뱃 코란 나니르와 아니 야나니 뱃 꼬마 낭로리 열하여베나 양 기시 캐랑 아니 레베기 제레 참시한 매버체 아니 종어세 디기 참들레 매웨나 캐랑을야 아니 소소기 왕보딘조 아니 당열체에게 왕자디 여레스 이 미수지기 아니 캐랑 꼬마기 뒤주인바이나 강달 느리지기나 뒤주가 수수래야 아니 용신이 캐랑기 단다 왕보딘조 단닝로와 침박해마 상와 레야기 톱당 요 말에 수강질이야 요 말에스와 이나야 기시 캐랑 시차베젤이야 아니 디 톱당디 캐랑리야 체루거레스 다 강달 매워 차루거레스 그래서 디인디 미셴바직레시네 캐랑기다 왕보 셴바디게 아니 레야 임바이나야 미셴바디레야 랑싱기 톱당로 용어야지 소소기 톱당디 쇼르야지 그래서 yes.
So if it is true that your rights end when your brain electricity changes, then it must also be true that your rights begin when your brain electricity begins, right? If they end when your brain changes to turn off, then they would begin when your brain changes to turn on.
당한저 드네지기 따당지 예베나 답변시는 캐랑기 레베낭로리안 달린 용마용세주와 단다 디디 아니 참체바다 캐랑시니 전에 캐랑기 탑당한 상만들 라야데 dünyam 임바이나 아니 델리아 가리고글라디 심 최소 싸워지 트리빈디 코기 레베기 제레 고쪽와다 코랑리아 탑당한디 dünyam이라고 그러왔어 켄세 따당 찬염기 턴에 따당지 용마이나 yes.
Okay, so then the question becomes, when does our brain turn on? And the answer is, it turns on about 5.5 months, 6 months. When the baby's inside the mother, about 5.5, 6 months.
다 드네 지와 연대 없어 가르쳐야려나. 건다 내당 드네 지와라 양 아주 가두 지와 가리운 걸라나. 아니 미디 레베 칠레 가두는 고추 그랬어야 저라. 아니 레바디 차놓은 선에 가라 바로와 로지래. 바로와 로지래. 디인디 레베기 칠레 가두씩 고추 그랬어야 디 사베링베기 토네 셰비나 아메기 콕베낭로리야 용신이 나왕가다 제가 쭉 버를래야 아니 레베기 칠레디 고추 요레스. 캔세 보고디. Yes.
So this argument is an argument that says that our life, a new individual life, depends upon consciousness. And when you lose your consciousness, you lose your brain, turns off, then your life is over. And when you gain your consciousness and your life turns on, that's when your brain turns on, that is when your life begins. So the new individual's life depends upon consciousness in this argument.
다츠시 당배도 나올래야 가르시기라도 당기시와 당시 안에 남시에서야지와 남시에서야디 다 consciousness 나 셰소리야 나 남시로래. 그래서 셰소르세야들 디인디 캐랑기로와 레베기 칠레 고 쪼가디 캐랑기 최소 주베기 체로치체 안에 레베기 칠레 참차와디 참셰위 뒤디 캐랑기 최소세기 뒤담아서네 참체야지. 그래서 디 에네 칼로 디 삼로당도 디 아니 지규르세야 되다 남셰세야 디 버를이야. 디 디네로지글이야 시샤네 주시지 연구요레스. 그래서 yes.
So if a mother was going to have an abortion and kill the baby, what you would make the law, if you believed this, then you would make the law that she could kill the baby until it was about 5.5 months old. It did not have any rights until it was about 5.5 months old, but then it gets the rights of a full human being and you cannot kill it. Then it would be murder.
Kisi amajigi pugu na kasa chogo na lolia pugu chayondi pugu di senye duwe na mazu pugu meo suyejiwa delia ani tumsin gokbasire kese di che imba na keranglia ani didang jewa yugi timlu ji syagires timlu di kare syagirela di timlu nanglolia kare kugirela di pugu di dawa nga da chega truk boru macha dawa nga da chega mandru patu kerang pugu di meo suye topdang yores karchen lawe na 세소스에 야나니 소스에 디 가디니 고주여레디 레베기 칠레 고주와니 치니 케랑기 세소스에 디 고주여라서 딘디 인디 케시 아니 나와 nga 샤가 버르리야 말롱바도 아니 케랑기 부고디 메버스에 탑단디 아말라 요레스 부고디 벳미 차상지기 두셰지글라 샤요 말에 켄세 얘네야 케시 델레 도데 나와 nga 샤가 투니 심바이나 nga 샤가니 심바이나 포고델이야 체소스에지 고주여와지 타간다 레베칠레 고주와니 체니 체소스에지 여바지 킬링겨디 다 포고 코랑리야 아니 미지기 톱당 여장 아니 아마디기 세야래야 톱당 여 말레스 켄스웨 yes
Okay, I'm sorry, the numbers got mixed up here. I think this Tibetan goes with number 1. Is that correct?
I think the translation is fine, but the second point is what you mentioned.
Okay, yeah, these are together. Yeah, because I just have the 4 arguments. So these are together. Yeah, and then argument 2. Argument 2, it says 3, but I mean argument 2 here. Do you see what happened?
Yeah. So, this first one's. Sorry. The second point translation is third point that you put translation there.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay.
Oh.
So anyway, another argument for when does life begin? It has to do with abortions, like I was just mentioning about abortions. If we look at Canada, the country Canada, they believe, they have agreed that you can kill the baby as long as it is inside the mother. But as soon as the baby comes out of the mother's body, then it is a separate life and it will be called murder if you kill it then. So they pay attention to when the baby is separated from the mother.
Oh, okay. Tadi somebody nangdo gyurgyo di niwa gang chigyo lo. Di indi ta Canada la shisha we na ani tanda nganzu dumsi goya gi tim chigyo res. Kense tim di nangdo la khare la shisha yo la di po di ame khokpe nanglo li ye chenje le ya amadel ya se gi toptang yo bache. Ta khangdo dumsi di mewa so gi toptang yo bache. Ame khokpe ni ma ye chawe shung ni ani para puda amani khache khegyo loga chaswa loga chadi didu any pudi kalor ta khandar pudi mewasya la ya amadil thopda yo mares kenswe goseswe gosemase okay ta Canada ya tanda Canada lungba yuwa delia an drumsing goya gi team jigores kenswe team di kharela ya shisha yoladi amada puse di khaga khadu chegere se jirwa delia shisha ne Pudi amegi kobe nanglo yöchenjel harchire pamani puda pamani jar amani jar dege rojurwa rwa kaga chayo marwa di chenjel ya ani amadele ya pudi mewa suegita mesa go nare shakcho dang go nare khandar pudi mewa suegi topdang yores amadela kense kenare timdel teta wenarda ta pudi ma ke chawe jene ame amada khache charo ta kadanda subuy thone khacherwa di kapsu ani mewa suye nare ta khandar dinde chegi topdang de yomares di tim Canada korangi timlo la shishane tadang jere yes.
So the baby cannot live outside of the mother until it is about 5.5 or 6 months old. It cannot live outside the mother. In a way, it is like it is just part of the mother's body. It is like it is one of her lungs or one of her kidneys. It cannot live outside her body. If you took it out of her body, it would die. The same is true for my lung or for my liver or my kidney. If you took that out of my body, it would die. It is part of me. It depends upon me for its life. It cannot live on its own, separate from me. And so maybe it is not a separate individual. Until about 6 months, maybe it is just part of me. It is just a piece of me until then.
Okay. Ta didirwa chik shaya roji imba na tangi ani dawanga truk paruli imba na pudi lebadi chile che guzu la swa di ngela dila di dawa ta kasa nge chawa ni chini dawanga gi chunje di nanglo ya kisi pudi ame khope na maten so na khora chotu mares keswe di indi ani ame gi ta khandar ta cholung imba na re siju imba na re dinjo changma ame gi chile ta ame gi wangbole ya tengu do di indi ko didi kapsanga jo dushe kane roji shagi la di ko liya ani mi gerji gi dushe roji shagi me wache ame rangi chashe roji la dushe shane keswe di shagi res kisi ta di cha jelia penchashana nganjo gi khala or da nganjo chashe imba na di amaro di mewe na ne tung marwa ta khanda chone chi tung marwa dawanga danga de chega tru paru ni ma temba na chone chi tung mares keswe yes.
Okay, so the Canadians believe this, and it is a good argument. Each of these arguments is a good argument. I don't have a favorite in these, though I am curious what your favorite will be. I will go through these, and then you try to see which one do you like the best.
Okay. Tadi gichushi changma ani kalawar tis tunda yogoro yangyares. Gimze yogoro stongoyos kelai. Di dingi tebana di akshuresha di ani gimze mindu seji kelala mes. Yimba ne krangi tone tadan chewena ani kandero juyese di ani kelai shendu chimbo yeswa. Di tanda Canada gi tanda kasa drumsi goya gi chimshdoa. Di ani tanda kasi dawa kasa dawa ngani chewena pudi kurang but 강사 get 로직 차네 인 코랑코랑기 아메추로를 땜바이나 양 딱강다 코유직 나올래 샤토와이나 촌에 제기 니버디도아 디델리아 시샤니 디팀디 샤요레스 켄세 yes.
So I think these are wonderful things to have debates about. I wish we had enough time. We could stop the class and have you debate these arguments with each other and see which ones do you think are the strongest arguments.
따디디로와 지당 주시 때문에나 아니 저바디기 때문에나 안 주시든 때문에나 파주 아니 딱세다 야나 졸링치에기 시신 신부지 차이를 졸링 유링부지에 당간들 띵사부지에기 예외기 주시 양가 레스토랑 안졸리아 더 닌레직 지에기 콤바기 연나 삼그도시 여초가 삼그도스다.
So far you have heard several arguments. One is that your life begins when you are fertilized. It is just when the DNA mix. Another one is that your life begins when your brain becomes conscious, when your brain turns on, okay? Another is your life begins when you come out of your mother and can live separately from your mother as a separate individual. Before that, you were just a part of her, but now you are outside of her living separately and you have your own separate life. So those are three arguments you have heard so far. Fertilization, consciousness, and when you are separate from your mother.
Okay. 다 단다바동 아주 지시로지 마셨는데 숨지글에 때브레스 채소세 가두이 줍그레세야 지로와 뒤 튼섬라 따당 당모디 칼라나 아니 캄까마 제마타도 아니 채소 줍그레세야 직체 캔스웨 니버디 다다 사벤 뒤저세야들라 사벤 뒤저세야 중화다 채소 줍그레세야 직체 니버디 아니 케랑리아 남시 세야디 따강데 초시세야디 인서들 때문에다 케랑기 강다 레베기 내가 제한 고점바다 아니 케랑기 채소세야디 고점교레세야 직체 따당 숨바디 칼라나 케랑 아마니 로스 차와당 캔세 아니 아마니 아메기다 둠니 마출로 때니 아메기 로스 차와당 아니 케랑기 채소세야디 고점그레세야 따당 숨 차요레스 yes.
Okay, I have two more arguments, two possible more times that your life begins, but it is time for tea. So I think I will stop and you can have tea, and then when we